Good afternoon. This is Alba Supreme bringing you another exciting edition of the Arts Africa Show. You are tuned into Africa Global Radio, and we are streaming from Ghana to every corner of the world. As you have come to know, Arts Africa is the place where we share, encourage, and showcase all that is excellent creatively and artistically in Africa and sometimes in the diaspora. It is Saturday the 11th of December and the time is 12 p.m. GMT here in Ghana. It is 1 p.m. in Abuja, Nigeria, 2 p.m. in Lusaka, Zambia, 3 p.m. in Nairobi, Kenya, and 4 p.m. in St. Denis, the Reunion Island. Now you may be wondering where the Reunion Island is. Well, I also didn't know up until a couple of days ago, but it is close to Mauritius and it is in the Indian Ocean where our guest, Khethi. Now, you know that Khethi is short for a much longer name. You know, the South Africans, they have some heavy names. And as for her surname, I'm not going to butcher it. She's going to tell me how to pronounce it properly once she gets on. Now, she is an Afro soul jazz singer, songwriter, poet, philanthropy. I mean, she's into so many things. And she is going to be joining us via Zoom. She is one of the most interesting vocal talents in the alternative jazz scene, blending urban sounds with African soul and on jazzy blue notes, and she's a social activist who uses her music as a tool of communication for upliftment and awareness. And she's currently coordinating Ride with Wakake, the South African leg, and it's a charity fundraising bicycle ride from Malindi in Kenya to Durban, South Africa. She's going to tell us more about this project once she joins us. So make sure you are checking us out on africaglobalradio.com. Instagram and Twitter, we are at AF Global Radio, Facebook, Africa Global Radio, and as you know, you can always send us a WhatsApp on +233 2070 4680. Arts Africa is brought to you by Africa Global Radio. Now, before I start, I would like to give a big shout out to our partner station, W93.5 FM in Wa, Upper West Region. Guys, keep making us proud. And if you are in the vicinity, you can catch the signal. Make sure you tune in for some great content. Now, our first track in our introduction to Khethi is Baseline. I read somewhere online, she said she was working in Tanzania, getting homesick, when this bass line echoed in her and it would take her on a journey home. You are going to love it. And after that, very soon, she's going to be joining us. So make sure you enjoy this track and see you on the other side.
sits on that yellow wall, and the children play in the dust. In the valley of 1,000 hills, so many beautiful trees, so much serenity. Global home of mine and its pizzazz and style and tranquilness. And then there's us. And then there's us. And then there's us.
Okay, so that was Bassline by Khethi. And while it was playing, I was saying to my text, Charlie, there's something about South African music. I don't know. There's something about it. It's like it just pulls you in. Wow. Anyway, before Khethi joins us, let's have a taster of what's available on Africa Global Radio during the week.
Karibu, Sawubona, Ekabo, Sanunku. Hello and welcome to the Africa Daily Show on Africa Global Radio, a daily magazine program that highlights happenings in Africa and the diaspora. On this show, we bring you positive news across the African continent, newspaper headlines across Africa, and trends on social media with Epifania Jokotogligui. Good news.
For today's AGR Good News, we have Uganda starts mass production of its first smartphone.
Today we remember a segment that revisits significant days in global African history. Interesting facts about Africa on the Did You Know segment. Did you know? Did you know? Did you know DR Congo is the largest producer of cobalt in the world? Individuals and groups who are contributing to the progress of Africa on African Champions.
African Champions.
And so Paris Bosire is our African champion for today.
And on What's On and What's New, I, Mami Alba Amwaminta, presents what's happening in the world of events, conferences, trade fairs, the latest in music, books, films, fashion, acts, theater, and the newest trends.
What's new?
So you're a fan of music?
I am actually.
And you know Davido?
Oh yeah, even in my sleep.
So his A Good Time album has hit 1 billion streams on all platforms worldwide.
Wow. This and much more great music across Africa and the diaspora.
Join us on Monday to Friday from 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. GMT.
On Africa Global Radio. Our story, our growth, our future.
Okay, so that is what you can get on Africa Global Radio during the week. Now, you know, sometimes Zoom can jinx you, but I'm really hoping today is not going to do that to us. So, Khethi, can you hear me? Hello, Khethi, can you
Yes.
hear? Oh, wonderful, wonderful. Because, you know, sometimes Zoom can be a kind of hit or miss situation, but this is fantastic. Great to hear your voice. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. And greetings from the islands.
Yes.
Missing mainland Africa, right?
Yes. Tell me about the Reunion Island. I haven't heard of it until recently. What is it like? What took you there?
So Reunion Island is east of Madagascar, but before you arrive in Mauritius.
Mm-hmm.
It's a small French island that I first encountered it in 2015, coming here for a music conference called the Indian Ocean Music Market, which is the prelude conference that happens before the big festival called Sakifo. That normally happens in June, just the first week of June. And so we came here for a week-long conference and stayed over for the weekend of the festival. But this place is so captivating. I mean, it's a tropical island. It just looks incredible. And in June time in Johannesburg, where I was based before, it gets a bit cold, you know. That's when like winter is official.
Okay, yes.
And the winter here is so pleasant that I had to make a plan. But fortunately also then I also met my partner here who made it quite clear that he made his intentions quite clear. And so we had a back and forth between Johannesburg and the island for about 3 years before I then eventually formally moved here.
Lovely, lovely, lovely. And so tell us a little bit, what's the population? What, you know, how, because it's kind of, it sounds like Santo Tomé, Principe, or some of those Caribbean islands. It feels as if it's got that kind of feel about it.
Oh, it is a reunion because it is the reunion of cultures. It is a meeting of cultures. It is the cultural melting pot of so the people here are Creole, but when you look at them, they are Métis, you know. So there's a lot of an Indian influence and a Chinese influence and an African influence, and then you've got the French. And so the language here is Creole, but I discovered that each island has a different flavor of Creole. So it's, you know, the Creole here is not quite the same as next door in Mauritius, for example.
Yeah.
But it's French based, and it is a French department, as in yet another province that is overseas province.
Yeah.
Yes, something worth experiencing, the culture, the cuisine. We have a live volcano that, you know, does its thing every...
I like that, does its thing every year.
Yes, like it's alive. You
Yeah.
know, it's definitely part of us. And then you go into the mountains and you discover nature. No, it's definitely pristine.
It sounds like paradise.
Well, I will say one thing, which I must have, coming from mainland Africa, that if you're looking for the white sand beaches, go to Mauritius.
Okay.
Because here there's a patch of beach and it's nice, but white sand beaches. But if you're looking for adventure, like,
but are the beaches clean though?
Yes.
Then
yes.
That's all
yeah.
that's important.
It's just theirs are not. How do I say? It's rocky. It's got like the shells are. It's not. They didn't clear the sand.
Okay.
Don't let tourism call me now.
Yeah. Oh, that sounds wonderful.
But definitely an experience.
Yeah.
Absolutely
Yeah.
an experience.
So, we're coming towards Christmas at the moment. How are you gearing up for that, like sort of artistically?
Oh, artistically, you know, one has really had to redefine that, and it's still in motion post lockdown. And so a lot of my activity is still back online because we are again experiencing an increase in our numbers, and we are, as much as it's never as intense as it gets in European spaces, but what happens in mainland France kind of affects us, which is unfair to some degree, but you know, if we want to continue to keep or to benefit as the French people, then we fall into that wave.
Yes.
But there is an increase of numbers, and so again, there's lessening of opportunities for live events again. So one is pushing online. Hence, I had to put on all my other different hats, you know, just to see oneself progressing and keeping the connectivity going.
Yeah.
So so I'm partnering with people who are in South Africa. I'm a facilitator, as I am with Ride with Bakake.
Yes.
Using my networks to facilitate for other things that can happen in spaces that are less confined.
Nice. Now, before we jump into the convo properly, we usually like to find out a little bit about your reading habits, or
Right.
books, something that you would like to share with us.
Certainly.
And so you have
Well,
A Girl is a Body of Water.
Yes, by Jennifer Nansubuka Makumbi, who's a Ghanaian.
She's from
author.
Ghana.
No,
With that Nansubuga.
Uganda.
I was thinking, well, this is not a Ghanaian name. It's like too huge.
No, forgive me.
From
Forgive me,
Uganda.
Uganda.
Okay. So can you read maybe one of your favorite passages from there?
Certainly. Oh, so one just jumps in, right?
Mm-hmm.
Was that worry creasing Nsuta's brow? Kerabu rolled her eyes. Grown-ups, step out of their little rural world and you are in danger of being gobbled up by the big bad city. Study hard, you hear me? I will. And Kirabu, I don't know when I will talk to you again. Life is unpredictable. Do you remember what I told you? Kirabu shook her head. Nsuta held both her hands. Don't judge the women you meet too harshly. I won't. Often, what women do is a reaction. We react like powerless people. Remember Kweluma? When women bite themselves because they are powerless. Tell me that whatever happens, you will not make another woman's life worse. I won't, Nsuta. Kirabu was miffed that Nsuta would ask. Remember, be a good person, not a good girl. Good girls suffer in a lot in this life. It was stupid to keep pretending that she did not know. Nsuta just wanted to love her. She was Tom's daughter after all, and all poor Nsuta wanted was a grandchild. She looked up and realized that Nsuta was waiting for a response. I will be a good person, Kirabu said, not really paying attention to the words she was saying. Nsuta did not look convinced, but said, good, very good. Most women in Nateta, when they heard Kirabu was leaving, had dispensed some wisdom or advice as a ntanda of her carry to the city and to see her through life. The only wealth I have in my experience, they would say. Books are a woman's friend. They don't know prejudice. They don't look left. They don't look right. Look straight at the blackboard. Knowledge will set you free. Love like you have been loved in Neteta. Hate hurts the hater more intimately. Kampala is a prostitute. It loves money only. That kind of thing. Yet the profound Ntanda Nsuta had packed for her was not to be a good girl and never to treat another woman badly.
Many life lessons for all of us. Really,
Indeed.
When you said women react because they are powerless, that was a very powerful statement.
Hard things to hear at times.
Yes.
Especially in our time now.
Yeah. Yeah. But I also think that, for instance, like I look at what we have on our TV, and if all of that is constantly also being reinforced by the media, it makes it very difficult for, for women not to react, but to take action as opposed to reacting.
Right. Indeed. And there's a great distinction between taking an action that you have processed and you've decided on, or are you just reacting to something that is
yes,
haphazardly?
Yes, and that's the word, haphazardly, because a lot of it is, or should, I don't know if it's the wrong word to use, but is very emotionally driven.
It's not, you haven't processed it.
Yeah.
It's a reflex.
Yes, exactly, a reflex. And then the other one that really jumped out at me was, don't make another woman feel bad. Don't hurt another woman, which is something that often subconsciously we're told is okay, as long as you get that man, or if you know, I don't know. It's like all you can just do is go. Because I don't believe this is a statement that many girls hear when they're growing up.
True.
And at the bottom line of everything, women, like if you get really good female friends and that, they are with you literally forever. Do you understand? They're like the strongest allies, and yet we're never encouraged to make those strong allies with other women, but to rather see them as competition.
Oh, it's a delicate balance, It really is, because because that sometimes, though, when dealing and having to manage situations, you need to come out sternly about lessons and dealing with what's at hand.
Yeah.
And then you appear to be a bit as if you're being harsh or intentionally harsh, and or making a personal attack. And so one always has to be conscious about the words that one is using in conveying the message, and also not losing oneself and then reacting and getting yourself also emotionally involved when somebody else is refusing to understand what you're saying. Human resources is a difficult situation to manage people. Human relations is an intricate field here, which when you're coordinating teams, it can be a bit difficult.
Yes.
But I'm soon learning to not avoid, because that's what then you do. Then you just don't talk about it. Then you're like, okay, I don't know how to say it, and then the mistake reoccurs, and you haven't dealt with it, or by the time it happens again, now you're really angry. Whereas if you had dealt with it and come to the lesson, if it occurs again, you don't have to start from back, but you're like, this has happened. When that happened, this is what we decided.
Yes.
So let's take it from there. How, or what is the challenge? How do we fix that? So then you're being clinical about it, as opposed to being emotional about it.
Yes.
But it's a skill, and you've got to learn, and you've got to read books and have grannies like Msuta
who can really drill it into you, give you, books are a woman's best friend. This is very, very true. They can do you no wrong. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, wonderful. I'm going to look at A Girl is a Body of Water. Fantastic. Fantastic. Okay, so
it was quite an adventure.
Yes, it does sound like it. Yeah. Okay, so our next track is called Saduva by Gibson Khethi. Have I pronounced his name correctly?
Yes.
Okay, now, I read that he single-handedly made township musical a form of popular theatre in black South African culture during the apartheid era, and he made it into the dominant means of expression and exuberance, and apparently it is your favorite.
It is definitely my favorite, and the guitarist who's on it is an old Madala now. He was a young boy when that was recorded, Themba Mokoena, and we come from the same village in KwaZulu-Natal.
Okay.
And he's with beautiful intentions to create schools to impart his work and share and teach, and hand over his legacy.
Fantastic.
So it was great when I played it for him, and he was like, "Where did you get this?" Very surprised. And but if I may then too, the phrase "satuva," it means when it's what we did during lockdown. Mm-hmm. In lockdown, we sat with nothing to do. Satuva, like it's just there was a bit of what now? There was yes. So and it's quite theatrical, and let's warn your listeners that it's not there's no lyrics in it, mm-hmm. But it captures a moment, it captures a mood, and I hope they enjoy the production.
Excellent. So everybody get ready for Saduva. Just even the name sounds really cute. Saduva. Then we're going to come back and then we're going to get into the conversation proper. Baduva. Oh, God, they were so nice. It was really, really nice. Love it. I absolutely love it.
It's quite the mood.
Yes, it's really nice vibe. Anyway, let's get on. Listen, you have done so much. You're a producer, you're a singer-songwriter, you're a poet, podcaster, philanthropist, traveler. How did you get to this point? Tell us about the journey to this point.
You know, I've come to realize and just accept that God's design is supreme.
Mm-hmm.
You know, whatever I think is the plan for today or the plan for this program, or you know, is generally, you know, minuscule compared to what the bigger plan is, or how it fits in, or how it reveals itself at a later stage. The little thing that you do, you feel compelled to do at, you know, at 16, and where it leads you at 32.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's incredible, and I'm in acknowledgement now. So, I mean, I don't know. I think the first time I wrote a song, I must have been about 15, 16. And influenced by growing up in South Africa, there were, you know, the Kwaito scene was quite unique to ourselves. It was uniquely ours, but I grew up having listened to a lot of jazz and a lot of soul music.
Sorry, the Kwaito, is it like people like Mandoza and Mdu and guys like that?
That's the one, the urban sound.
Yeah.
That was the new South Africa.
Yeah.
Yes, so that was like our signature sound as young people.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember then it also had girl groups. Where are you, Khethi? That was bad. The fact that you are not, you know, Abashante, I remember very well. The very energetic girls, 3 girls with like, you know, Boom Shaka. We had also really setting the trend. And I didn't really know where I fitted in all of that. I knew I wanted to do music. I remember at 14, my father took us to the Playhouse, and I saw Mama Sibongile Khumalo, who's just recently late, but she is classically trained and a mezzo-soprano singer who plays the violin, who composes African music, and is a stellar jazz vocalist, piano player. She's just deluxe, you know. And I remember that whole show, I sat right at the edge of my seat in that gallery, and I was spellbound, you know. And I was like, yes, that's what I want to do. I don't know if I want to do all of it, but I want to do that.
Yes.
You know, and then we had this Kwaito mix that was a bit confusing for me, because I wanted something more musical than, you know, these short lines that didn't make sense, and music should say something. And then we had Bongo Muffin came with Tandi Somazwai. They introduced us to, she's within my generation, she's just older than me, and I think the first song I heard was her doing a rendition of Hotel California.
Blew you
she
away.
Owned it. You know, she owned it. I mean, there's that rock song that we know that's worldwide, but she took it and gave it her soulfulness. And then that was a second affirmation that, yes, okay, now I really, really can do this. There are women in my country who are forging the way forward. And then I remember that I went and recorded my first 5 songs in Malawi, which was a very odd place. But there was a producer who I had met, who were based in the UK, and he came home for the holidays in Malawi, and I was there to record these first few songs.
What, this was when you were 15? Or a little bit afterwards?
Oh, wow. So here I am just jumping ahead here.
Because I'm like,
so
wait, okay, I thought that's like amazing. Like you get your affirmation and boom, straight to Malawi. I was like, okay, girl.
Oh, wow. Oh, forgive me. Wow, where's my chronological mess here? Forgive me. Okay. So, 14, I see Mama Sibongile Khumalo. 15, I attempt my first song. 17, I see Thandiswa Mazwai. 18, my father and I moved from KwaZulu-Natal into the big city of Johannesburg. I'm studying graphic design and, stealing minutes to go into the music school to sing backup for whoever needs for their exams. Any chance I'm getting, doing a hip hop track with Proverb, who is a big hip hop artist and also the host of Idols in South Africa.
Okay.
One of my first recordings was with him with a song called Letter to My Ex that he had written, which was, in fact, he took that recording, got himself a chorus to have an Isley Brothers chorus to it, but the song remained. So that was, that's when I had to learn how to freestyle, because then we would perform the song live with the live band, and him as a creative, he'd get bored reciting the same verse. And so he'd switch up the story in the middle of the song. And the song being Letter to My Ex, then I'm the ex. And, so
you'd be bouncing off each other.
Frustrating. Right. So it ends up being a call and response. It was a fantastic way to learn on my feet how this guy just switched the line. That's not what we said. Wait, you've just insulted me. I've got to hit you back. So that was a fun experience, but learning, appreciating the 4-year-old.
Okay, so we also have a co-host with you. It's like, you can't leave me out of this situation.
Wow. Okay, I manage. We manage.
Okay.
So yes, this was the situation that led. And then I realized that I needed to learn how to write, and started to hang out with artists who could, poets actually. One inserted themselves into the poetry scene and started to attend workshops where the idea is you want to say a lot, but you want to keep the words simple. And that was a good exercise.
And then also for it to have layers, because you know how you can listen to something once and you get something, but you listen to it again and then another layer is revealed and another layer. Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah.
That's it. I recognize the need for, and particularly because I've always felt that music should say something. I'm not a popular music kind of girl, and we talk about love at times, but it's not necessarily where I dwell, or at least let's talk about constructive love and the building of societies and an awakening of a people that are in a lull, and bringing them to a level of consciousness. So it became important then to be able to write these subliminal messages, and as you say, that they listen to it 5 years later and they go, hey man, that song just hit me very differently today.
Yes. Yeah.
So that's then, and through this hip hop space, there we go. Now I'm in my 21 there, working with poets, and I meet a hip hop artist, because there was a Malawian poet who then hosted a Malawian hip hop artist who was part of a hip hop crew, but they were all based in the UK. They are all from Malawi, but they were based in the UK at the time, there to study. And one of them being a producer. So he shares with me different instrumentals, and I liked one, and I had started to write on it. And so when the producer came home, he then invited me to come into Malawi, and this was now 2003, to come up and let's explore what can come about.
Yes.
So I took my first, that would have been my second ride out of the country by myself, but it was through the same crew. Yeah, the first was in Botswana, and then to Malawi, where I spent about 2 weeks. We recorded 5-6 songs, which then became my EP, my demo, my Zulu, what is Vula Mlomo, the one that helps to open the gate,
Yes.
And then he took the same recording back to the UK, and he was studying music. And the people that he was around, and there had been talks about maybe opening up an indie label, then they invited me to come and do the rest of the album in the UK.
Okay.
And so in 2004, then I went and worked on Exemplify.
Yes, that was your
which
first.
is my debut album.
Yes.
It was difficult to... Right, continue.
It sounds incredibly smooth.
Exemplify, the album.
No, just the journey. It's like just things just seem to just click, like sort of well-oiled cogs. The people you met, and and then before we know it, boom, you're doing your first EP in the UK. That's like amazing.
Well, this is what I'm saying, that, the small decision that you make on that day,
yeah,
to join your friend for something else, and then you're meeting somebody, and it's in itself. Hence, I'm saying that God's design,
yes,
he's really the one behind orchestrating all of this. And we think we know, but I've let go of that, that need to know right now.
Yeah.
And especially now, fast forwarding to today with all what we are going through.
Yes.
One would fall into serious depression, and we did. We've come right back at that rock bottom of, but I need to know. I normally have a year plan, and I have things that I want to achieve, and now I don't know what's going on. Well,
but I also think like the thing with a lot of stuff that I've also read, the thing with, especially when the pandemic hit, is an awful lot of people saying, okay, I'm doing this, and yes, it's feeding me, but it's not what I want to do. People are actually taking risks because they do know that, well, you could go anytime, but once we have this pandemic hitting and all these people dying, it's like your mortality is so in your face. It's like, I can't waste time doing something for doing something's sake. Let me do something that means something.
Right. So people are having more meaningful lives.
I really hope so. I mean, I've read a lot of stuff like that. I'm just hoping that it's literally like it's a time to reset. And I don't know if we've figured it out properly yet, that this is a reset time. I mean, we can't go through this kind of traumatic experience and go back to being exactly how we were before.
Well, no, that's not an option anymore. That's not possible. Well, okay. I hear your point, definitely. But there is, and we need to fight through the preoccupation, because also it's not everybody that is looking at it in this perspective. Some people are just waiting for the world to fix itself so that they can just conveniently get back to whatever they were doing.
Yeah.
But also some people have then said, well, the world is ending, so, why the effort? So let me just wallow and do nothing and, drink myself into a stupor because, so there's, I suppose there's definitely different levels here.
Yes.
But there's a responsibility for those who are in the awakened space, who are seeing it for the potential. to try and reach as deep down as possible into awakening everybody. But it's not everybody is going to be awakened.
Yes.
Some of them are just going to be taken by the wave of, oh, we are in awakening, or they'll wake up.
Yeah. Or, as you said, let me just get back onto my track that I was in my sort of comfort zone, and I'm okay. But we shouldn't get there. Tell me, what is...
We have not been comfortable.
Well, maybe comfortable... Because comfortable is also, I'm in a place that I don't like, but I know it well. It's familiar to me. And so for me, the word...
Rather the devil you know than the devil you don't know.
Yeah, so for me, comfortable also encompasses that. And it's easy to get into that place, because maybe once you're in that situation, it doesn't feel good. But once you accustomize yourself to, or acclimatize to it, then as you said, it's the devil I know. I know what it is, back, front, left, right, up, down. Why am I going to go through this again for something else when I know what I can get here?
Yes.
Yeah.
Have you consulted about your true potential and your purpose here?
Uh-huh.
Have you tried to discover that and channel your energies to reveal that to you?
Yeah.
Or are you think this is it for you, and therefore you must just
stay there? Yeah.
Mold yourself into this little box.
Yeah. Well, for some it's comfortable. And in our climate, you can't really judge them.
No.
Yeah.
Like I say, there's different levels.
Yeah.
There's definitely different levels, and we are all, if we're going to say we return into this world, I don't know what number you are in. If there were only 10 times that you can return into this world, maybe you are on number 1 and you haven't quite done the 3rd or 4th round to have then the depth. Or maybe you're in number 9 and you're like, that was great. I'm just going to ride the wave out now.
Yes,
so
dude, they're like the big finale.
Yeah.
But that's
so definitely we cannot judge.
Yeah. I mean, that's interesting. You said, if you can come back 10 times, or, well, come back until you fulfilled what you were brought here to do. Maybe it's like the opportunity. As you said, maybe the first time you didn't quite get it. So on the second loop, things start clicking into place until you finally achieve. Because ultimately, we're all here for a reason. Nobody is dumped on this earth just to be here. The thing is who then actually ends up fulfilling, and it might not be in that one lifetime, but it might take a couple more cycles before you actually reach where you need to be.
I'm going to have to go and analyze all of that, which I've just said too, because that just, that was just me being a conduit. I need to go and unpack it myself.
Okay, so let's go for something a little more, as they were saying in Spanish, a little more suave. Tell us about your creative process. From inspiration. I mean, how do you get your, what inspires you? I mean, you're just walking down the street one day and something. What inspires? What brings the ideas? What's your creative process like until we get to the final product?
Oh, and there is no one formula, really. I mean, as you asked the question, one particular thing, I'm standing next to a Lego expo at a shopping mall in Hyde Park. Hyde Park Shopping Center is having a Christmas Lego special for the kids.
Okay.
I've brought my daughter. She's playing Lego and I'm waiting for her to do her thing. and the atmosphere is around, and in my head I hear la 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 la. La 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 la. A chant that just is constant, and I have to pull out my phone and look a bit weird recording this melody because I don't know where it's going. I don't know, but it's here and it has arrived. And then you take that into that was post. These nice apps that we have now, where you can explore the harmonies by yourself. But so you take that into studio with the producer, you record that line, you listen back, you record all that you've heard. So all the harmonies that I've heard, or any bass lines that I think I heard, or and then you trust in the relationship that you have with the producer. You've got to give them their space. So you've given him, this is now inspiration for him. And this is just one example, right?
Okay.
And then he interprets what you're doing. He feels the world, he feels the room, and he starts to build around it. And at that time, I can step back and go, okay, so what's the mood here? What is this song talking about? What's the theme? What are the words? And so while he's creating the melodics and you're correcting him, or directing where you think the song needs to go next, but it's a creative collaboration.
Yes.
And then it's about, okay, so what are the words here? Is it a poem or is it a song? Do you have melodies with this, or is this the melody? So it's quite the this is the best for me. This is the best thing. I live for this creative space. And then you have, it's talking about open your eyes and see opportunities for you and me. Open your mind and you will find there's more to this than what meets the eye. And it's all for you. It's all for you. Africa, all for you.
Wow.
Oh, okay. All right. So how does that go? Jump into studio. Let's play again. All right. So we've put down the melody line. Let's find the backing vocals. How do we harmonize this? And I think I hear I want a violin. Okay. So now we've got to find a violin player, session musicians in, then we are mixing and we are good. We are sharing with an A&R, seeing how this plugs in, and then somebody comes and says, no, actually this is for, this works for an intro for a TV show. Oh, okay. No, is that just the instrumental? Oh, okay. So then we can continue with the track itself into a single. Then that becomes number 2, number 4 on your album in the future. That's one process.
Yeah.
Yes.
Give me another. I really liked that. I really liked that exercise. Give me another process.
I remember there's a song called Year 23. My father and I are born in May. He's born on the 9th of May.
I'm on the 5th.
May are you born?
I'm on the 5th. I'm a true Taurian.
Yes, you and my father are the Taurians.
Yeah.
Yes, he's the 9th and I'm the 25.
Okay.
And I had just come back home after a stint of, I'm 21 and I think I know life. I've got it all figured out. And now I was 22 and it was his birthday, and later in that month it would be my 23rd birthday. And I was home and, needing to make amends with the old man, needing to prove that, yes, life has hit me hard and I'm back and I need to, I'm going to try and, do it the right way now. So it's his birthday. I'm in the kitchen. I'm home alone. It's a work day. And I hear him. Who you figure you're going to be in the year you're turning 23? Are you ready to let me just be me? Or are you going to drag me to the ground? I'm tired of you, my enemy, 'cause I just realized that you are me. Messed with the codes in my head, but finally figured out a way ahead. Okay. Write that down immediately. Record that, please. That melody line is so stern, like that's his voice, you know.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Then take that into producer. A different producer has a different flair and he loves drums and understands the rhythm. And that was Year 23 is in fact on the album Exemplify.
Wow.
And this was the producer Q, who's the Malawian, that we then worked with to produce between Malawi and the UK the album Exemplify.
I'm very interested in your father. No, because you know you've mentioned him a few times, and every time I'm thinking, he sounds like a very open. He sounds like the type of parent that a lot of African artists wish they had. You know, I mean, like you know, the places he took you to for you to get those aha moments. This is me.
Right.
And for you at 21 to be able to go off and do what you want, and 22 and then come back at 23 and know that, okay, I got to come and make amends. But the relationship sounds really, really wholesome.
Textured. Wholesome, yes. And textured. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, no, he's 20th century, what would be the word? Maverick, perhaps. Yes. The last of 11 children. So I suppose, you know, he's had his opportunity to, by the time he's raised by his parents, they're quite matured.
And mellow. The others have worn them down, and they're like, you know what, dude, get on with it. Because you know the oldest child is the one that really gets it, because obviously you're the practice run. But I think by the time they've hit like 5 or 6, they're tired.
Yes. No, he's baby number 11. He's the last born.
Oh, they were really tired.
But also then during a time that was not easy, you know. He's born in 55, so in the 60s and 70s are his prime years, and it's a tough time economically also for the African, and apartheid, and you know, we're growing up in South Africa it's a totally different texture, but they've made it a point to not burden us with it. That is something that I'm totally grateful for. Not that we don't know it.
Yes.
No.
Because I wanted to ask you, so parents taking that conscious decision not to burden you with it. I want to ask, because I keep on hearing Rainbow Nation, rah, rah, rah. Is it, I mean, legally, I know it's over. In law, it is over. The ANC are in power. But is it really, really over?
It was never over.
Okay, because I kind of figured that, but then, you know, when you get into conversations with people and you really want to sort of push that kind of discussion, people feel as if you're trying to be negative or whatever. But how can it be over? And
it was never over. I mean, look, in a match, if I may, boxing match, the two fighters sit across from each other, and then they come into the center to have the fight. And when when the bell goes off, they retreat to their corners.
Yes.
Now there was no retreating to each corner. Nobody left.
So
we never got to regroup back to ourselves to then plan how we connect for our future forward. we never got to undo. We never got to analyze what it is that had been done, really, because, beyond just the violence, there was a systemic situation that was religious, that was
psychological,
deep psychological mess up, what is it? Stripping of your identity completely.
Yeah.
So we have not been able to go back and say, no, you were stripped, and the clothes that you are wearing now and the coat that you have, in fact, is a different one. So let's take you back into unstripping you to take you to your origin, and then you can decide a way forward for yourself. We now know also that with documentaries that are coming out, that it was all orchestrated from the UK. All of it.
When are they
the funding of the ANC, the funding of the NP to continue it was
when are they never involved? I think is the question to be asked. They've always got their fingers somewhere, in everybody's pie.
Oh no, but now it's not fingers. These are claws and elbows now.
Yeah,
and it's just it's too deep. It's way deep, and we need to come to that understanding before we can even, begin to map out our way of how we move it forward.
I think,
and it's not going to be clean. I think we tried to be diplomatic, but it's not a clean job. Because it wasn't a clean job in the first place
at all. I mean, when you were talking about sort of the going back to regroup, and I thought in West Africa we also have literally the same issue. Especially with the period of slavery and colonialism, because again, it's literally like your history was interrupted 400 plus years ago, and then there's this big schism, and it's like how then can you go back and do the journey the way you would have done it without interference?
Yeah, we got people saying, if we give you land, are you going to be a farmer? Not all of us are farmers. We just want land. Some of us just want to bury our people in our yard. We want to have our cattle here. Just have our land.
But the thing,
don't try to dictate what it is that we're going to do with it.
I think the other thing is, I saw a thing on TV where a young African woman was having a conversation with Macron, and she was accusing him of paternalism. And I think they still can't get their heads out of that role that they play. Because even, I mean, you think ideally the best way for Africa to move forward is literally, like when somebody is building a website, and then it's not finished, and then when you go to the site, there's a message on it saying under construction. Literally, it's literally like, guys, hey, thank you very much, blah, blah, blah. Why don't you all go home for 100 years? We'll call you. And of course, it's not going to happen. They're not going to allow that to happen. But literally, we need something like that. Okay, guys, it was really great. We loved having you here, but bye-bye. We're closing up shop for a minute. We'll let you know.
Because every supermarket has a day of inventory. Don't they take time where, you can't go into the supermarket?
Yes.
Because the supermarket needs to take
They're
stock.
restocking and taking inventory. Yeah, we need that for 100 or 200 years.
Oh, I prefer your ideas. I was trying to say, can we just have a 90 days? First it was 90 days, then it was 90 weeks perhaps.
Yeah.
Of if we imagined around the continent, garage doors closing for business. And with a little note that says, we'll be back.
Yeah.
And whoever is in it who's uncomfortable is free to get out.
Yeah.
But we're just not dealing. We got to do the stock as one giant shop, because for them, Africa is one giant supermarket.
Yeah.
So Africa, the supermarket, needs to do some stock taking.
I mean, the thing is, if it took us 400 years to get here, we need a couple of hundred to to really
I like it. I
get to know
prefer
ourselves.
that number, definitely.
And then sort of from 200, because I mean, we need to find ourselves by ourselves without outside interference or even our own people being interfered with to interfere with our natural process.
Because there lies in our biggest problem, actually, because they don't have access until someone inside is giving them access.
Yes. And so we 300-400 years, let's do it. Okay, back to music. Listen, if you could open up or collaborate with any artist, dead or alive, who would it be and why?
Oh, no. Okay. Sure. Okay, so can I have an African show where I'm opening for or jamming with Fela Kuti and Mama Miriam Makeba on the same stage?
Wow. Now that would be a show I definitely want to go to.
Please. And then can we do like a mad jazz with Ella and Sarah? Sarah Vaughan, Ella Fitzgerald.
Oh,
Sarah Vaughan,
please, can I throw in?
Louis Armstrong.
And then I can throw in Cesaria Evora.
It would be very inappropriate if I screamed very loud, but yeah! Most definitely. Oh,
This
yes,
is interesting.
poised.
You mentioned Miriam Makeba. I downloaded a poem you wrote about her and what she represents. Can I recite it to you?
Yes, please.
She broke the silence in the darkest of times, people's minds mesmerized by the bravery in her eyes. As she sweetly sang the blues, she did the wise, communicating truth, speaking of our painful lives, injustices, labor law fallacies. Diseased tongues spoke foul truths of broken promises. Sweet were kisses as melody releases, the pain and strife of being with life, warrior each time.
Yes, and she is.
Amazing.
And she was.
Amazing.
And she was.
Yeah. I may get in trouble for this, but I kind of like hear music, but every time I hear music, like artists like you from the southern part of Africa, there's always something very intense, something very exploratory, something very looking for yourself and not trying to be like Americans or that there's something very distinct about the type of music that comes out of there. And that's what actually led me to that apartheid question that I asked, because even though your elders try to shield you from it, but obviously you feel its impact, it's in your DNA now. Do you think that has been an influence?
Absolutely. And when I say shield us, it's not that we didn't talk about it. It's not that we pretended that it was not happening. Hey, I'm born in 1980. Ooh, did I just expose myself? So that means I'm 5 years old. The state of emergency that hits our country in the mid-80s. I'm coming back from home, from school, grade 1, grade 2, and I find soldiers, white soldiers, in the village, in my grandmother's house, my bedroom, my parents' bedroom, my grandmother's bedroom. All our beds are on are leaning on the walls. They've ransacked the whole house, looking for God knows what, and now they've decided, because my father has a great collection of music, of records, they are now eating my banana chilling like it's their house.
Listening to records.
Listening to Dirty Dancing.
That is so disrespectful. It's so disrespectful.
Next week, I'm coming out of school, and there are mellow yellow buses, the trucks, the police vans, with every young boy that I know in them, packed, and they're all screaming, "Tell Mama they've taken me, tell Mama." The movie that you see, I've lived it. All of it in its madness. And so, you know, we're very conscious about what's going on. Or on a Sunday family lunch, and your cousins and your brothers come racing in because now they're being chased with dogs and whips by the police. And my father and I have to stand up and intervene and say, no, but these are our boys. They're not the people we are looking for. Go somewhere else. You know, so the viciousness was totally there.
Yeah.
My first best friend at 4 was the son of, I didn't know this, was son of a warlord. And he was hit by a car as a revenge. So I lose my best friend at 4, who's and he's, you know, implicated in this war zone that we are living in.
And yet your music is always, it's warm, and it's love. It's, you know, it because to go through that, you would expect anger, and yet the anger is transformed into something positive,
and I think that's where then our parents play the role, because they don't bring their anger into our homes. Then they work with us through whatever that we are going through. It's communicated.
Yeah.
I remember when I was in high school, for my English paper, she had given us, the teacher would give you a few topics that you pick from. And the one she gave me in a very prestigious white school, later, just before, it was a surprise for me to see a Steve Biko quote. And I think that was definitely directed at me, which says, "The most potent weapon in the hands of the oppressor is the mind of the oppressed."
Yes. Yeah.
And I took this home, and I didn't know what to do with it. And I said to Dad, okay, what does this mean? And he says to me, okay, you know, when we go to visit Grandma and we go past those rainbow chicken factories, right? You know, there's chickens inside there, right? Yes. Okay, so what would happen if a helicopter came and lifted one of those coops and flew away with it? What do you think those chickens would do? And I was like, well, they're going to run free and go and find food. They're back in the wild. And he goes, no, think about it again. Okay, so maybe they might be shocked by the light. Think about it again. So there's this process of they're in fear because they don't know the wild. All they know is this little coop. And so some of them might just die, stay waiting here for somebody to come feed them.
Some might even want to go back.
That's it. They'll just wait. They know they're waiting. It's coming back. It's going to come back. It's going to come back. Right.
Which ties into what we're talking about with the pandemic and certain people, the devil you know, and just staying in that corner. It's literally the same analogy of the chickens, you know. Yeah. Listen, we're Ride with Wakake.
Yes, keeping me on my toes.
Yes, tell us about this and your role in it. What is it about? When is it coming up? You know, and what would you like people to do?
Oh man. So Ride with Wakake is Otieno Akake is a Kenyan musician who's also a long-distance cyclist. And for the past 4 years, around the time of his birthday, he makes it a point to he adopts a charity, and he does a ride. Initially, it's been within Kenya, fundraising for different causes. And the year before, they had done things for Christmas gifts for children at a local village. And then the school principal came to him and said they needed school fees for 18 children. Can he help with that cause? And so he had been challenging himself a bit longer and longer all the time, but this is the first time that he's doing from Malindi, which is a coastal town in Kenya, just above Mombasa, to Durban, South Africa.
How long is that? How long is that distance?
5,000 kilometers.
Whoa. And the plan is to do...
Tanzania.
Okay. 5,000 kilometers through Tanzania.
Say again, sorry.
Did you say 5,000 kilometers through Tanzania?
Well, no, he comes from Kenya into Tanzania, into Zambia, into Botswana. And now he's in South Africa. He's literally days away. He's in fact arriving on Thursday.
Okay.
He's on the last city before Durban now.
Okay.
And he contacted me, how do you say? During lockdown, there were two things that helped me to survive. Excuse me. One was a group called, WhatsApp group called Queensville Parlor.
Which I'm very quiet on. Maya added me to it, but so far I haven't said much. But I will start participating.
Oh. It's been my lifeline, really, really. That, and then also an East African group called Mindful Talks for creative artists discussing mental health issues and how do we forge our way forward.
Yeah.
And so, but then the company that runs this Mindful Talks is owned by Otiano Wakake, and it's called Made in Malindi.
Okay.
And when I was invited to join it, he was soon leaving from Kenya. So he left on the 26th of August. He's been on the road since the 26th of August. When he hit Zambia, he called and said the people in Durban want him to do a performance. Can I help him to find a band in South Africa or in Durban? I put him in contact with my band. And then he realized that to enter South Africa is not the same as entering any other place where you can just rock up and ask a visa on demand at the border. South Africa was sending him home to go and apply for a visa.
Wow.
So he asked for my intervention. Well, no, it's not like I've got any power, but the ambassador, Kenyan ambassador in Botswana spoke to South African ambassador in Botswana, and she said, okay, let him get all the paperwork ready as if he was in Kenya, and let's see if we can process that.
Okay.
And so he called me again to ask, and I put him in contact with a colleague of mine in South Africa who helped to facilitate the invitation letter and all the administration work that is necessary for that process.
Okay, so you're like a coordinator.
Well, yes, definitely. And then I thought I was only doing those two tasks. I didn't realize that I was going to coordinate the itinerary and everything else that is happening in terms of the connectivity of the people in South Africa, helping to connect him with the different teams. But it's been a beautiful experience. And I think what inspired me was the fact that he's an action person. You have people who talk about what they want to do, and then they get distracted, and life happens. Yeah. And that's another thing. But there was a guy already on the road, and he's doing it, and he's moving.
Yeah.
And so, what I would encourage people to do is maybe come through to wakake.org and have a look at his journey. Buy a T-shirt because those proceedings go towards the fundraising. We're trying to develop the merchandising as much as possible, but also I feel it's a pilot ride for something for the future. So we are building relationships as we are going along.
Yeah.
Just creating enough awareness of our intentions, and then we will start. I said to him, I don't want to be called when you're already on the road. Can we discuss this 6 months before you go? Let's strategize. Let's approach people in the right way.
Yes, and give them time to also say yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, fantastic.
But it's been all a beautiful experience.
Excellent. Last question. What's the best advice you were given when you started this journey? And what advice would you give to someone starting their musical journey?
Okay, so I've got two. Mama Miriam Makeba, I met her once, and she said, "Oh, you are a singer? Okay, so be an all-time singer." There's a lot of us. When I started, there were a lot of us here. I'm not even the best of them in terms of the scope, and there were many incredible singers. But then they grow, then they get married, and then they have children. Their husbands tell them that they don't like it when people they're getting fans. They're so then they cower, and they become less and less
focused,
and completely remove themselves from their path and their passion. When you are sad, find the song. When you are happy, find the song. Be an all-time singer.
Wow.
I thought, wow, okay, Mama. but it has been a lifeline for me. The recently late Mama Sibongile Khumalo said, and I suppose this is just my on the general social activist side of things. She says, look, go write it down. Stop telling us our business. Go put it down.
Oh, wow.
Okay, Mom. Yes, I'm going to write it. I'm going to write it.
Yeah.
But yes, because you're talking it and it's all for here. But what you're saying is important for the other generations too. So put it down and let's see how we can spread then and change the narrative. We need to re-look at our narrative. Those were her words.
Wow.
So me advising somebody.
Yes. Advise us, please.
God's design is supreme.
Amen.
So connect. All you do, connect to the source and let the source guide you and allow the process and be vigilant and connect really to yourself. To how do you say? Hey, because life is it's a journey.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
So pace yourself also, because I know that as young people we think we've
got all
we
the
want
answers.
solutions now. Yes, we want it now. We want it all figured out. We want it ready-made, frontal lobe thinking, instant gratification. That is not life. That's a derailment. That's what people are selling you. It's not real. And in a contract, if it's your contract that you want to build you forward, please be mindful of that little phrase that says in perpetuity.
Yes. Excellent. Finally, give us your social media so that people can listen to more of your music and find out more of what you're doing with your podcast and your blogs, and let us have it all, because I'm sure a lot of people will be very excited to find out more of what you're doing and also to be inspired by you.
And thank you again for this opportunity. My music sits on Bandcamp because I'm this independent artist, right? So it's minakhethi.bandcamp.com. You find my both albums, Exemplify and Woza Moya, and some singles as well. I am on SoundCloud. If you search soundcloud.com/KHETHI. I'm on Facebook. I have a Facebook page, Urban Diva Khethi. I must look at that one again. Twitter, it's Mina Khethi. Instagram also Mina Khethi. I am Khethi.
Is the Mina spelled M-I-N-A?
Yes, MINAKHETHI.
Yeah.
T-H-I. So there's two H's. People forget it. But
Khethi.
that's the one.
Yeah.
Yes.
Excellent. We'll make sure we add those tags too. Okay.
And please come visit us on wakake.org, wakake.org. And also then we have the podcast, Queensville Parlor, the podcast.
Queensville Parlor. Excellent.
Yes.
Excellent.
Yes.
Excellent.
Fellows were on the blog space, but I didn't realize that there was so much now.
But it's good. It's good. It's good to be busy. Okay, so we are going to end the show with a proverb that you like and one that I've also been living, but I didn't know, which is travel is fatal to prejudice, bigotry, and narrow-mindedness. That's by Mark Twain. In West Africa, the proverb that we have is, which is the same thing, is the child who has not traveled would always say their mother's cooking is the best. And then locally, we just say travel and see, because once you go, you'll get to see something. And there was also something that...
Ukubona in Zulu. That's what you just said.
Oh, please say it again so that I can try and repeat it.
Ukuhamba, ukubona.
Ukuhamba, ukubona. Ooh.
Yes.
Those are some...
travel is to see.
Is to see. Khethi, thank you so much for taking time from your busy schedule. To join us. I'm sure the little one is still enjoying her Lego, right? And then I also, want to thank my tech colleagues who made this Zoom connection really smooth, because sometimes we've had some hit and misses with it, but today's been absolutely amazing. And for our viewers and listeners, thank you for tuning in and having a refreshing artist's music, new artist for you to get to know. So she's given us all her links. Make sure you check out her music. We already heard Bassline to begin with, and she's got a lot more incredibly beautiful. So we are on africaglobalradio.com, on Twitter, Instagram. We are at AF Global Radio, Facebook, Africa Global Radio. And you can send us a WhatsApp on +233 2070 4680. Arts Africa is brought to you by Africa Global Radio. Now, have a great weekend, people, and make sure you join us next Saturday on the Arts Africa show.